Woo! How's it going?
Happy hands.
Always. I don't know
You
what.
have that. You have team spirit. In high school, it was cabaret. I think that's what the girls did, right? And there was a lot of hand clapping to get the pep rally going. Circa 1993, if people want to know.
Well, wait.
And
Cabaret. Cabaret. How does that
yeah,
fit into the cheerleading?
well, there was cheerleading, and then there was cabaret. Cabaret was like it was like a lot of unitards, a lot of like Joan Benet Ramsey Rouge, and then a lot of teen spirit. So I was just wondering if you were on cabaret.
No, no.
Okay.
I was not invited to participate in that. Um,
Nor was I.
well, and if I had a child, I would force them into it. No, just kidding. Tobe, look at this. I have sunshine coming in. It's
Oh
nice.
my
It's
gosh.
light.
I thought those were your grow lights.
Yes, yes. My my operation is
Yes, your operation.
no. Do you? Hey, wait a minute, you guys. So this is going to be your first like official summer on the farm, right? Wait, did, didn't you like move onto a farm?
What the
Kind of.
people don't know is that I'm actually in the middle ward, and she's nice enough to call it the farm. Yeah, this is my first summer here at the ward. Um, Actually, just a side note, there was a place that I investigated north of us near the town of Cedar-Woolley called Northern State Mental Farm. And it's an actual place that you can go and walk around, right? And it was a farm where they put the not the criminally insane went there too, right? But this is where the term came from. Funny Farm is an actual farm north of us here that housed people that were, sick in the head. So just a sidebar, interesting little bit of darker paranormal trivia. It is a haunted location, but I digress. What were you saying?
Well, I do want to say thank you, Renee, for that donation. Well, as going back to the farm thing, the funny farm, and I just have to say one of the greatest films from the 80s
Oh yeah.
ever made. But no, seriously, didn't you guys move on to a farm, or like there was a lot of? Weren't you harvesting things last year? Weren't there a bunch of
Yeah.
Facebook posts, or did you
Well, let me
wander
tell
onto
yeah,
someone's
so
property?
we the government doesn't need to know this. We don't actually have a farm, but we do have a lot of trees that produce things that you can eat. And so we go out here and yeah, it's that time of year, right, where you got to get your plums smuggled and your cherries bucketed and all that stuff is coming our way. There'll be markets involved, and when you go to these markets here, one of the things I do is I set up my pop-up tent, and I take Bigfoot reports while we sell produce. And so some of the hot spots that I've went to, I even took a TR3B slash Aurora slash anti-gravitic triangle report from a place called Hogback Ridge. Love the names out here. And silent floating triangle report from what seemed to be a stable individual, probably not on a farm. And so it's an active, fun area retirement community known as the Blue Hole. It's kind of the blue hole slash black hole, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of strangeness here. So I'll keep everybody abreast as the summer progresses.
What are you planting? What
Well,
can
there is,
what can we
yeah.
look forward to? Like Tobe's bounty.
You have to come by and you'll have to try some of these cotton candy plums that we have. Nancy Fry has had some of these cotton candy plums. Um, but we have oh, what are those? Nancy will chime in here. Nancy Fry, the things that look like boysenberries or blackberries that don't have thorns. We have
Oh,
lots of those.
caneberries. They're
What are they?
the caneberries. They look like blackberries or marionberries,
Yeah,
but
but
they're
no thorns. I didn't know you
yeah,
could eat a beautiful berry without thorns, and we have some of those. So I'm excited about those.
very good.
Yeah. So yes, TR3B. I see that in the comments there. That is one of the more, I heard that name Aurora and TR3B circa 19 88 from my neighbor. That term has been floating around for quite a while. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire. There must be back engineered craft. In fact, I think some witnesses have said that they've seen the actual American flag stamped on the side of some of these floating triangles, which like to do show and tell. I mean, they come less than 2,000 feet off the deck, so people can see them. So, anyway, someday we'll have to dig into that little wormhole.
Okay, well, we'll save that for another day. Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes
I don't want to save it for another day. I want to talk about it now.
right now.
All
Okay.
right, go
Okay.
ahead with your
So let's
itinerary.
see here. Let's see here. We're back from California. That interview we got in Hollywood will be coming at you soon. It's going to be fun, and
Oh,
there's going to be a fun little giveaway with that. So I don't know
did you
how you'll.
interview? Did you interview Ben Affleck? Who was it? Was it a big name? We have to wait and see.
It's a Bigfoot name.
Oh, it's a Bigfoot name. Okay. All
Haha,
right.
see what I did there?
Okay.
So okay, so that we were on the road for a while. A Flash of Beauty Paranormal Bigfoot is
Mm.
on our YouTube channel. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please check it out, share it, subscribe, encourage others to do so. Treat it like Amway, where you introduce it to two friends, who introduce it to two friends, and we will take over the world. Um, it's been really fun, Tobe. I don't know how much time you spend in the comments on the videos. There have been
All
some.
day.
Uh, I'm obsessed. No,
Yeah.
but there are some neat comments coming through, and sometimes just kind of go through and see what people have to say. It's neat to hear other people coming forward and sharing their experiences and stuff.
Mm.
So indulge yourself if you
So
feel.
choose. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm hoping that people in the chat can chime in, Sasquatch Sunset, that
Mm.
movie. Have you watched
Oh.
it yet?
No. Um. But go ahead. I've seen the trailer like everybody else. But please, fill me in. Have you seen it? It's obviously up for a Cannes award right now or something, right?
No, I have not seen it. I'm reluctant. I'm dragging my feet.
Oh, really?
Just because I read everyone else's commentary,
Mm.
and I can be non-biased, like, yeah, it is what it is. But at the same time, I don't want to do spoilers. I don't want to chime in and like ruin it for anyone. Maybe it ruins itself. I don't know. Um, but what I'm really curious about is in some of the news stories on the press. Excuse me, my nose itches. Uh, they like Jesse Eisenberg says we spoke to experts. Experts said Sasquatch behaves like this. But I mean, maybe it's listed in the end credits, but who
Hmm.
are these experts that advise them? Who do you
Well, I
or
thought it was a comic relief kind of cartoonish look at the lighthearted nature of making kind of like a raunchy Bigfoot comedy. Was I wrong?
like a National Lampoons
I think so, or like Ed Crumb, right? Is that his name? The famous artist that painted like a naked Sasquatch walking. R. Crumb, I think it was. It
Crumb, yeah,
reminded
yeah,
me
yeah,
of
yeah.
Crumb stuff, but I think the original film was like a 3 minute short of like a labor and delivery of a
Yes.
Sasquatch in a tree, and it
Yes.
got it got some major award, did it not?
It was at Sundance. It
Well, leave it to Redford. Come on,
I mean,
what the heck?
here I am, like Brett and I've been trying to make narrative stories that, full length films that have a beginning, middle, and end that,
Right.
speak to an audience, and all this time we could have had a Bigfoot giving birth. So I'm I know I have to go see it. I just ugh, fighting the urge. So I just want.
I don't know if you have to see it. Do you have to see it? I mean, it's not your duty. I'm not gonna hold you to it. The audience isn't gonna hold you to it.
Okay.
I I think you
Okay.
better go see, Paul Blart 3, I think, is out. Maybe you can catch a midnight showing.
Well, I own the DVD, so joke's on you.
Okay, fair
Um,
enough. I'm a big
yeah,
Paul Blart fan, by the way, so if you couldn't tell already.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Mhm.
Let's see here. So what are little notes we have? Oh, as far as we're trying to reach a bigger audience, and we will be expanding the show or the channel, the live stream, the podcast when it gets going again. Tobe.
On it.
We're gonna go to Rumble, and so we'll still be on YouTube, but we will be on Rumble also. And just I don't know, maybe we can catch a few people over there who aren't watching here. So
Yeah, I mean, I catch a couple channels of Rumble now and again, and, it's a thing. I mean, if it's good enough for Russell Brand, that's all I gotta say. Let's go.
well, he is kind of the standard that we're trying to
I
match.
wish I had his stream of consciousness. I mean, to watch that guy work on TV, I mean, it's just he's like a savant, really. There's very few people that can communicate to that level. So whatever you think about his politics or whatever, he's a fantastic communicator and should be hailed as such.
Didn't he just, I think I saw this on Instagram, didn't he just go through like a major rebirth? Like he like discovered religion
I
and
think he discovered the Catholic Church and had a full baptism.
okay.
Yeah, so it's very catchy right now. There's a lot of people transitioning from spiritualism to Catholicism, um, and it's a heavy thing happening across the world. I'd like to do a little bit of history on nation states that are going through transition and seeing what's happening to people as they move from spiritualism to adopting a religion. There's probably a history to it.
Interesting. Well, in it when you look into it, we know who you
Oh,
can talk to. So
okay.
yes.
I'm going to talk to Arla Williams, who's on us right now. Or I may talk to Tammy Krasick. I may
Oh,
talk to, yeah, I may talk to 412 Vibe. You don't know.
Tammy. You're all invited to the conversation. Tammy, I have your story here. Your Sasquatch experience that I was going to read. Maybe we
Nice.
jump into that now. So, Tammy reached out to me. Gosh, I think it was back in January. Jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. January, and we hopped on a Zoom call, and she just because I didn't know if like I didn't know what the best way to do this was like do we record it as a as like a Zoom thing and then we post the video or whatnot or this that and the other but we were able to because we had a bunch of like side conversations and chat going on in this video so we kind of streamlined it and she was able to kind of recount everything minus all of our talking but I have it here and I'm going to read it so
Dramatic pause. Go.
okay so bear with me here because my eyes are not what they used to be. Okay, so this is from Tammy. I grew up in what you would consider. No, I screwed it up already. I grew up what. Damn it, third time's the charm. I grew up what you would consider in the country on 120 acres. The hunting side of my family would be on my dad's side. I'm the youngest. My dad was in his 30s when I was born. Being the youngest and having older siblings who were way older than me, I was an only child. I loved the woods. I can't remember when I didn't. I have memories of being maybe 5 years old, going out in the woods with my dad in the evening to check on his bait piles and sit in a blind with him. I've never had a fear of the dark, and I think it's because I was with my dad in the dark a lot. My dad and his brothers were hunters. I did hunt a little bit when I was in my 20s, but I was more of a partridge hunter. I liked hunting and spending time with my dad in the woods. Being in the woods has always been where it's at for me. My dad served in World War II, so he didn't really have fear because he had faced so much trauma and death and war. I think there were things he didn't want to talk about. I look back now on our 120 acres, and I think there were times when I'd go and visit my parents after I moved out of the house and moved into town, so to speak, and I'd want to go into the woods, onto the trails. My dad had 40 acres of trails that he groomed himself. He would always
Wow.
say, "Be careful. You never know what you'll run into. There might be a cougar back there or a mountain lion." I only thought back on that after my initial Bigfoot experience. In November 2016, around Thanksgiving time, a friend of mine and I decided to go for a night hike on one of our favorite trails. We knew nobody would be out there, and like I said, I'm not afraid of the dark. I was all up for a night hike in the moonlight. We met at the trailhead in the parking lot. Our initial thought was that we'd go for a night hike and maybe see fairies because, hey, you never know what we're going to see in the woods. And being the intuitive psychic medium I am, I'm thinking we might see something. We weren't thinking about it. We were focused on the trail. We joked about seeing Bigfoot. So we got on the trail, and she was more versed on the trail system than I was. At some point, we decided to take a right. We became aware of something, and my friend said it was probably just a deer. I knew it wasn't a deer. I grew up in the woods, and I know 2 feet, I know 4 feet, I know movements and sounds, but I didn't want to tell her that somebody else is out here because I didn't want her to be scared and to run back to the parking lot. When you hear something walking, that's alarming. When we arrived, there were no cars in the parking lot. When we left, there were no cars in the parking lot except for ours. And that's part of the reason we went there for the night hike. We wanted to be alone. It was definitely bipedal, by 2 feet.
Wanna Yeah, there you go.
Uh, bleh. Other either human or just something walking on 2 feet, but we can't see it because it's dark out. We had our little flashlights with us, along with some moonlight so we could see the trail. So we just kept walking. Not long after that, we look up we look up to the left and see this light in a tree, maybe 12, 15 feet up. It's stationary, it's not moving. So I'm not sure if we're looking at an orb or if we're looking at eyeshine. I don't know what we're seeing. My friend thought maybe there's a three-wheeler out in the woods, and I asked her, "Up in a tree?" She proposed that maybe it was somebody with a headlamp. Again, I asked, "Up in a tree?" The area the area we were looking at, there's no ridge behind it. What we're looking at has to be up in a tree. We stared at it as we walked, not turning around and running. So it was interesting that they stopped to try, there's that deduction like, "Oh, it must be this, it must be that."
Mm, yeah.
So here, we got our flashlights out and we couldn't figure out what was up in the tree, but we kept walking. So now we're walking further into the woods, ah, and getting around to one of the loops out there that leads to a fire pit. It's where three trails converge, where you can take different trails. My friend suggested we return to this fire pit, which would probably have been a 15, 20-minute hike. We finally made it and sat on the bench looking around. The vibe out there was interesting. After at least half an hour, we decided to head back to the parking lot. And I remember telling her I didn't know the way back because this was a trail I wasn't used to yet. I'm following her because I'm not familiar with the trail. Let's see here. Whoops, I just missed my spot. We were coming up on the small bridge, headed back to the trailhead, and heard this vocalization that I still can't describe. It sounded like a dying animal. It sounded like it was either a dying cow or maybe a deer that was hurt in the woods. It was just this howling that felt like a call. It was enough for me to go into my head and figure this out. I couldn't come up with what it was because I'd never heard anything like it. It's not a fox, it's not a bear, it's not a raccoon. I'm going through this list, but I don't know what it is. It sounds like something's dying. We continue walking. We still have about 3 city blocks to go to get to our cars in the parking lot. We were kind of hurrying along. We can still hear the howls off to the right. When we get to the parking lot, we were looking at each other like, "What are we hearing?" I told her I was going to go home and do research. All the way back to my house, I was just like, "I don't know what that was." I honestly felt like something was hurt and I wanted to go back to help it out. At some point during my research on animal calls, and this is later that night after she went home, and this is like two in the morning now, nothing's coming up even close to what I heard. So I thought, fine, I'm going to I'm going to look it up, and I typed Bigfoot calls, and I found one in Rainier, Washington. When I came to this specific call, I knew we heard a Bigfoot call in the middle of the Days River Trail. We heard Bigfoot. So what does this mean? I went back out there about a week later to walk the trail during the day and retrace my steps and the events. I was trying to figure out who to contact about this and it wasn't by chance. I'm sure it was meant to be. I saw a man speaking on TV on the news doing a segment on the BFRO, basically Bigfoot Research Organization that he runs in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So that's the guy I need to reach out to. His name, I don't know if I should say. I'm not gonna say his name just because I don't know if
Okay.
I have permission.
Okay.
His name is Bob. We'll just say that. I reached out to him and we set up a face-to-face interview so he could review my account. We went out there together and I took him through what happened. He took all of his notes. I gave him my account and told him I'm willing to come back there at any time to see what else happens. I'm willing to come back out at night and bring equipment and some of your stuff. I was all in at that point. I didn't know what my eyes. I didn't know what would happen from here on out, but I'd like to see where this goes because if this is Bigfoot, I was interested. Isn't that interesting? That's like she got the,
Hmm.
it gets you. It took a while for it to get published, but he eventually got it published on the BFRO database. I spent 5 years in that location to get to know the groups there. By the third year, this was my second expedition with the Upper Peninsula group at a location 3 hours northeast of where I live now, a well known Sasquatch experience area. During the second expedition, a bunch of us were walking down a trail and I noticed a rock out of the corner of my eye. I was going to walk past it, but I stepped back and picked it up, thinking that's an interesting looking rock. It had etchings on it, some symbolism. Just want to see something. Give me one moment.
Okay. Do 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 do.
Tammy, I think I don't think I think no, this is the edited one. Okay. Um I think this is the one you sent back to me. Bear with me here.
Oh,
Tammy, is it? Tammy, chime in. Am I
thank you, Psychofu, for the $5 donation during our intermission here. Psychofu, Psychofu.
okay? I'm just gonna keep going. Because I know she sent me like a cleaned up, updated one. And I think I may have pulled up the identical one. Oh crap, Tammy, I'm sorry. It sounds like the original. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me.
Okay.
When you have,
Please, yeah, stick around tonight
hold on.
for the rest of our show here as Jill gets the edited version of Tammy's witness encounter. If you hit the like and subscribe button, all the better.
Okay,
You can keep abreast. And now back to our regular
okay.
broadcast of the show.
So yeah, she had a much more elegant I had like the transcript. I do want to go back because there was something that kind of stood out that I missed. So she said she was going to go back. Um, bear with me here. Where is it? I'm looking in Tammy. You know exactly what I'm looking for. It's regarding getting your report published. Oh, here we go. You're talking about he took notes and said, I'm willing to go back there anytime, day or night, to see what else happens. It took a while to get my report published and added to the BFRO database. Apparently, being a psychic medium by trade makes me seem less credible. I thought that was funny. That's what triggered me to remember to think, wait a minute. Um, so isn't that interesting that she got pushed back and had
Hmm.
trouble getting her report published, but I wonder if she would have if this had happened recently, if she would have the same obstacles and challenges. Um, okay, so I'm going to backtrack a second. I spent 5 years researching in that location. Before we moved, getting to know the Bigfoot families, while I hiked there, I would get giggled and whistled at and found interesting things in places they shouldn't be, like buttons, designed rock piles, and some intricate tree structures that were simply amazing. By my third year into my Bigfoot journey, I had gone on 3 expeditions with the Upper Peninsula group. During my second expedition, a few of us were walking down the trail when I noticed a rock out in the corner of my eye. I was going to walk past it, but I stepped back and picked it up, thinking that's an interesting looking rock. It had etchings on it, some symbolism. A couple of people in the group suggested that maybe it was a gift and I should pick it up. I took it back to the camp, passed it around. Everyone had their theories. I took the rock home and contacted a Native American couple I'm close with. I sent them a picture of the rock and they thought it looked like a dragonfly, which several others had also suggested. Bruce, the Native American who gave me my Native American name, and his wife both believed the rock was a gift from Sasquatch, acknowledging my return for the second year. He suggested I take the rock to the river where I had my initial experience, wash it in the river, be thankful for it, and leave a gift of blueberries and squash. Following his advice, I went to my initial location and I did what was suggested. A week or two later, the head of the Bigfoot organization suggested I check if anything had changed at the river. When I returned, I found no remnants of the squash or blueberries, but a dead deer was lying on the bank with its neck and front legs broken.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a lot. I was shocked and reached out to the organization for advice. It was suggested that Sasquatch probably gifted me the deer in return for my gifts. I was overwhelmed and unsure about accepting such a gift. Eventually, I returned and brought, I'm going to call him Bob. I brought Bob with me. I conducted a ceremony for the deer, acknowledging its sacrifice. The experience set me on a quest to understand the species. I've sat down with Native Americans to gain knowledge that they rarely share about Sasquatch, or as I like to refer to them as my forest friends. Fast forward to the now. At this time in my life, at 57 years old, I have a telepathic communication relationship with the forest friends wherever I go. Sometimes at home, I receive telepathic communication and vocals. I've had 2 separate sightings in less than 1 year in my current area of research. I have continued shamanic training to become a more effective psychic medium and to connect more with these ancient species and be on their terms. I've had one female interaction as well. I am learning to discern their individual energy patterns. Sometimes they mimic other animals, not only in vocals, but also in vibration. They do this for protection and to mess with humans because they can. Isn't that interesting? We talk about the mimicry, but
Hmm.
also that's interesting about the vibration.
Hmm.
Let's see here. They do have a sense of humor unless provoked. They have told me so much about themselves and their take on humanity that I have sought out other people who are in the same experience camp as me. They have more knowledge and abilities than humans can even begin to understand. They are not to be feared. If you can live with the best of if you can live with the best of intentions, show them respect, and not use manipulative tactics, you will not have any problems with this ancient species. If you approach them with anything threatening or provoking, you will get that in return. They reflect who we are. They know us
Mm.
better than we know ourselves. You get back what you put out. Good point. I have a deep spiritual connection and understanding of their presence. They protect me. One last thing, I am not an expert. No one is. I am merely a human being who has her own talents and experiences, and I hope by sharing, I can help ease others' fears. I selectively participate in podcasts and presentations. And that is Tammy, who is in the chat. And just to let you know, the very beginning part is a lot smoother and more refined than what I was choking out. So, Tammy, I apologize for starting on the wrong copy, but I think I brought it home.
I thought it was great. It was good, Jill.
Ah, gosh,
Cabaret
my
clap on that
eyes.
one. Yeah.
I'm just like, ah. Um, but my gosh, the gifting of an actual deer, because you got to think that that's a pretty big statement. I mean, you're like a source of meat.
Hmm.
I mean, that's pretty big.
I
But
mean,
we
there's
hear
a
that
lot.
happening.
Yes, yeah. And it's it can be a very daunting thing to enter into that kind of communication with the unknown because it really is an unknown. Nobody saw the deer get delivered that way. You don't know who brought it in. You suspect because of all the ancillary evidence that comes with this phenomena. It's always just right out of reach, right? And that's the way they like it. They're in total control, whatever they are, but everything that was described here goes into a type of personhood. And so this is what we're, coming back to again and again, Jill, is that we're here with these interesting people of one degree or another that seem to want to evade, for the most part, human contact, but in Tammy's case, through slow initiation, engage with her. And, I'd be curious to ask Tammy too if she thinks that somehow um, her ability or her gifts of being a medium or psychic um, was maybe what brought them in a little bit quicker to the process. Obviously, your intent, we talk a lot about that, but you know, obviously, this group up in the Olympic Peninsula not taking your report because of your resume, because your gifts somehow maybe I think you were saying maybe polluted the report overall. That's just those days are done as far as I'm concerned. Yes, people can go ahead and put someone like Tammy in a category and basically cancel you to one degree or another, but we're in a different territory now, a different footing to where these days are just over. And it's an asset. That's one of the things that I love to look into and talk about is getting to know these people that have these hidden assets that they haven't been able to really enjoy or exploit out in the woods to one degree or another. So um, there's a lot here. I love the idea of the fact that it all started off with little trinkets being given. Before we get to the deer, we get buttons and little rocks and things like that seem to really line up to the way this process works. And then by the end of it here, we end up and consequently these things start off small, little tiny things, and then as the relationship grows, the objects and the experience gets bigger and grander till you end up with a deer with its neck broken. So I don't know, was it scary at all, Tammy, when that deer was laying there and you knew that that deer had been gifted to you? I'd be curious to know, and you can just type out your response here, whether or not that was a little bit frightening or off-putting, or if you
I think
saw it.
she said,
But
I think she said it was a yeah, it was a little bit shocking.
yeah.
And and I'm gonna circle back with Tammy because so she was telling me uh on a call that so the area she's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
Mm,
which is
okay.
there's all sorts of stuff going on up there. But she was telling me about how the her forest friends in that area just have a much more ancient feeling to them. Like it feels like it's different than the ones that she originally encountered.
Okay.
Um,
But
but she
it sounds like Dad knew all about it. That was my impression from the letter.
It kind of sounds like reading between the lines. Tammy,
Mhm.
feel free to chime in, but it kind of feels like reading between the lines. Dad may have
Mhm.
been saying he didn't want to say you might run into Sasquatch in the woods, but you might maybe he saw something, maybe he was aware.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, um, maybe the trails were a nice touch just because did I hear 40 acres? That's quite a big tract
Of
of land
groom.
to be
Yeah.
groomed trails. I mean, we had 5 acres and grooming those trails was like a monthly job of picking up stuff all around. So, um, and the lights, right? Like the lights up in the tree. I like the second guessing because we've all been there before where you're trying to, you know, stereoscopically, imagine where you are with the terrain and whatnot, and your mind is just racing to try to debunk it as quick as possible so you can enjoy the experience. That's really what it is. Is that you don't want to be disappointed, so you're racing like, okay, I don't want to be BS'd here by the end of the day. So I get all that. I mean, it just sounds so compelling and familiar.
I do want to Tammy, I'll be reaching out because she also had we talked about Dogman, and she had some interesting theories and had connected some dots for what's going on or what she thinks might be going on in the
Oh,
UP. Um, but that's for a different show, and we'll
mm.
circle back to that later.
You and you're circling back. Okay. All right. Well, that was fascinating. Thanks, Tammy, for sending that. And if you have an encounter and you want to send, it doesn't exactly have to be totally Sasquatch related too. I'd love to hear, we'd love to hear some of your strange encounters because I feel like this cobweb is all connected. And so let us know what you're experiencing, even outside of the world of your Sasquatch experiences. It may be related more so than you think. Certainly, strange sounds, strange feelings, strangeness in the house. I want to hear about the hitchhiker effect. I want to hear how the phenomena possibly followed you home. um, I want to know if any of these experiences just are downright scary. Like 'cause people do have scary experiences. We don't hear a lot about them, and I'm not saying we can't make sense out of them, but I'd like to, hear a little bit of what's going on, some hair raising stuff.
Oh, okay. Let's get that on the calendar. We'll have a special. Yeah, you guys send it. If you have anything that
Yeah,
fits the bill of what Tobe's talking about, let's talk about it.
send it.
Oh, you
That's
know what? Actually, we got
whoa, what?
we got okay. So I have some follow up I need to do because there have been some emails that have come in while we were traveling, and I was just like, "This is amazing. I must process and digest and I will follow up with you." But gosh, we got an email the other day that was it was I think it was spurred by paranormal Bigfoot, and it
Mm,
was just so beautiful. And what they were sharing, I I've said enough. Let me let me hop on the phone with the person who wrote it in, see what I can
mm.
share, because I'm not sure if I was supposed to be if I'm. if it's in good taste for me to share without their permission. So
Okay. Okay. Fair
so
enough. Fair enough.
stay tuned. Now, Tobe, you put out a little ad for today's live stream. It's very flashy.
Mm,
Um, are we spicing up the live stream? What are we
I
doing
think we.
now?
I think so. Well, back when I did live shows, we would do paranormal trivia, usually like maybe 3 times a year, and um, you know, drinks would follow, and this seemed like a lot of fun. A lot of these pubs actually have trivia night. Have you ever been to a pub trivia night? No.
Begrudgingly. I'm
Really? Oh gosh, there could be a lot of fun. Like there's
no,
Trivial Pursuit night. That's kind of lame. Um, but there's also themed. And so tonight,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
thought it wouldn't it be fun if we just let loose a little bit. Um, Maybe I'll roll a lucky strike, and we're gonna play a little bit of paranormal trivia. So these are not specific to the world of Sasquatch, because remember, we're entering into this cobweb of experiences. Sasquatch is our baseline, and we're going to branch out to other areas here. So, um, I don't have theme music, but Flash of Beauty, the podcast live presents with Jill and Tobe paranormal trivia. Yeah, 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 yeah.
We need
All
music
right.
like Family Feud.
Yes, yeah. I need a leisure suit. So, I guess the way that we'll do this, Jill, is that if anybody here online, and I'm willing to take advice on this here from you and Brett. I'll probably rebel a little bit. It's my nature. But if anybody online knows the answer to this, what I would like you to do, instead of, now, no cheaters. I'm talking to you, Jeff Roan. I want you to put your laptop away. And Arla, you're up to no good too over on the East Coast. I know what happens with you Southern girls. No cheating. I want you to think with that beautiful, meaty computer behind that wall of flesh and bone. And I want you to think about this here. Okay, so if you know the answer, just hit the little raise your hand icon, and then Brett will call on you. So the first person to hit the little raise your hand icon, which I've seen you guys do, you're doing the Bigfoot ones, you're doing the thing and the stuff. Just hit the little hand icon, and there you go, the pink hand. And then Brett will call on you, and we'll get your answer from that. Now, if you get it wrong, then you're out. You're out. You can't answer the next question. So your prize is going to be, if you if we're keeping points here, your prize is going to be, you're going to have an extra shiny halo in heaven. Okay,
Oh,
or in your case,
perfect.
Jeff Rowan, you're going to have 2 pitchforks. Okay, so whatever it takes. All right,
One for each
so
hand.
right, right. Okay, Jill, do you have your first question ready? Because I'm getting ready with my questions here. And why don't you go ahead and ask the first trivia question here? I think there's about 18. So we should probably get going. Jill,
Okay.
start us off.
Okay. Well, I have a baseline, like basic question. Where
Okay.
where was Fred Beck's Sasquatch encounter located?
Now you have to repeat it.
Where was Fred sorry. Where was Fred Beck's Sasquatch encounter located?
Okay. If I heard you right, where was Fred Beck's Sasquatch encounter located? Okay, looks like we have a hand up there. Brett, you see that hand there from PNW Prepper is what I see. Did you see that too, Brett? Why don't we call on PNW Prepper for the answer and possibly for the win of the question? Where was Fred Beck's experience? PNW Prepper, you're next here. You're on the wild card line here. We'll wait. And the answer is, keep us in suspense a little bit more there.
Who, me
All
or
right.
him?
right up the
Oh,
road from the Ape Canyon. Jill?
yes. And can you be for the people who don't know where Ape Canyon is? It is
Oh, in what state? Is
well the
that your
general
question?
area. I mean, it's, Ape Canyon's as kind of like a specific place.
Okay. Well, why don't you just inform and
Well,
then
it is Ape Canyon. It's in
okay.
Mount St. Helens. Oh, there.
Mm,
Okay, we're Mount St. Helens. Yes,
See, he knew.
he knew.
PNW prepper.
I
See,
just
we did.
want everyone to know.
He's like the Swiss Army knife of questions here. Okay, question number 2. Nice job, PNW prepper. Now, mine are going to be a little more obscure. I'm taking you guys serious that you guys are nerds. So let's nerd out here. These Fred Flintstone characters have something in common with these famous UFO abductees. What are their names? Again, these Fred Flintstone characters have something in common with these famous UFO abductees. What are their two names? Yes, Cabal. I see. Is it Cabal 313? Is that what I'm seeing there, Brett? Cabal. Okay. Let's see what they know.
Oh,
Oh, Renee, you're not playing fair, Renee. I want you in the corner over there, sucking on the wrong end of the lollipop. Okay, Renee is right. You guys can share the glory here. You both are getting pitchforks, so indeed it is Fred and Barney, not Rubble, but Fred and Barney Hill. I'm sorry, Fred and Barney. I got it wrong. Betty and Barney Hill. Did you get it right, Jill?
I figured it out after Renee
Okay. Nice. Okay.
posted it.
All right. You're up next there, Jill.
Okay. What was Albert Ostman searching for when he was abducted by Sasquatch at the Toba Inlet?
Again. I want to hear it again.
What I said was, what was Albert Ostman searching for when he was abducted by Sasquatch at the Toba Inlet? This happened back in the 20s. This is
Okay.
the case where he's in the sleeping bag and he got
Mm.
taken back to like a cave or something for 6 days.
I think people are joining the chat, so they're not jiving with the rules. So we're just going to have to go with it here. People are coming up with the answer there. What do you think it was, Jill?
What do I think it was, or what do I know it was? Like, what
What
was
do
it?
you know it was?
He was looking for a lost gold mine.
Nice. I didn't know that actually. I knew that he was out sluicing or doing something out that way, mineral related, but I didn't know he's looking for a gold mine.
A lost gold mine, mind you.
Well, he found one, all right. Okay. Well, King Charles, old King Charles. I almost said rest in peace, but hasn't happened yet here. King
Give it a
Charles
few months.
recently has had a rather creepy self portrait of himself done. But in other news, there may be a reason why. Who in the hell is King Charles related to if you go back far enough? This infamous impaler. Who is it? Again, King Charles recently in the news for his rather creepy self portrait. Lots of rumors going around about matrixing it together with mirror images and strange shapes showing up, and you can go see it yourself. But there may be a reason why. Go back into his family lineage. Who is King Charles related to? I think 4 or 5 generations, probably more. Satan, Jeff Roan. No, it looks like Renee Drew for the win. Vlad, yes,
I think
Vlad the
Jose.
Impaler.
I think Jose was in there.
Was it
First.
Jose? Okay.
Jose got it.
Yes, yeah. And just to give a little bit of provenance here, Vlad the Impaler, the cruel 15th century Romanian warlord who helped inspire Bram Stoker's Dracula, right? So if you saw the one with Keanu Reeves, which is probably the most laughable Dracula in my opinion, But they do a good job of recreating the lineage of Vlad the Impaler. Okay, Jill, you're up.
Okay, we're going in another direction. Uh, what was the name of the horse that was killed in 1967 and near the Colorado cattle mutilations? So this was a very famous case back in 1967. There was an area in Colorado with a lot of cattle mutilations going on, and there was a horse in this area that was killed. What was the horse's name?
Whoa, this is total nerd trivia. I love it. I have no idea, but I love the fact that someone got in there. Was that your question? That's your question that you came up with, right? That's
Yeah,
good. Okay.
yeah.
I don't know. I would love to know if anybody, someone that went for the obvious there. Snippy, Wilbur, Mr. Ed, Jeepers Creepers.
Wait a minute. Oh, well, hold on. Mark. Mark got it. Snippy.
Snippy. Oh, well, I
Snippy,
mean,
the
with a name
horse.
like Snippy, things are about to happen. You don't want to be named a horse Snippy. No.
Snippy.
Snip snip. Okay. Next question here. What Star Wars character is rumored to be actually related to a Masonic invoked entity? What Star Wars character is rumored to be related to a Masonic invoked entity? Anybody? I'll wait. I'll say it like this. What Star Wars character is rumored to be actually related to an invoked Masonic entity?
Can you tell us which Star
Star
Wars?
Wars?
Which
The
Star
good
Wars?
ones, not the bad ones. Darth Maul, no. Palpatine, absolutely not. Joe Biden, close. Jar Jar, hell no. Anybody else? It rhymes with the word soda for a clue. Darth McVader, no. Laugh out loud, no. Wrong. Jabba the Hutt, no. You're all absolute
What is it?
losers. It's Yoda. There is actually a 33-degree Freemason, British occultist, pictured up here online conducting a conjugate or a ritual invoking a Mephistopheles entity called Yoda.
Oh,
So it's wondered, right? Like there's a lot of Lucas allegations about him being mixed up with the occult and such. Um, so I wonder if Lucas is a Mason and was writing about this little critter named Yoda. It looks a lot like Yoda too, and these are old images from like the 1920s that I'm looking at. A little goblin with big green ears and such.
hmm.
Okay, you're up, Joe.
Okay. In which state did the sighting of the Flatwoods monster take place? The Flatwoods monster. What state that take place in?
What state?
Not a state of confusion or a state of
No.
fear or a state of awe. In the continental United States, where did it happen?
Where did it happen?
Where?
Flat
Where?
state.
Where?
Okay. I like
Uh,
uh I like the where your head's at. Ohio, Oklahoma.
Psycho Fu got it.
Psycho. Nice job there, Johnny boy. Nice work.
Nice
All
golf
right.
slow clap.
Right. Um okay. Dr. Simeon Hine was recently on a live stream we did in northeastern Washington. And on that live stream, he related a story about an object that moved from one place to another. What was the object? Where did it move? And what is that phenomena called when you can move an object with your mind? Again, Dr. Simeon Hine, author of Dark Matter Monsters, who now has a new YouTube channel, I believe. Um, Check that out over at Dr. Simeon Hine. He was on our live stream. He mentioned that he went to an event where something was happening where someone could move something with their mind. And this person moved something in front of him with their mind from one place to another. Where did it move to and what was the object? Anyone? Someone's got part of the answer there. Yes, it is telekinesis. A dollar bill? No, that was over at the Silver Dollar in Eugene. Keep guessing. Where else? Anybody else? Going once, I'll give the answer out if no one gets it. Going twice. So the answer is it was a cigarette, and I just so happen to have one here, that moved, I believe, out of the guy's pocket into another person's pocket, right, Jill?
Yes, as Jeff Rohn.
What'd he say?
He said the object was a letter moved through the mail system. Jeff Rohn delivered it.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Sealed with a kiss.
Yeah, but that cigarette went out of the pocket, whoop, right into the
And
other pocket.
yep. See, it pays to watch these live streams. There may be prizes later. You don't know that. Okay, go ahead, Jill.
Okay, so then let's see here. Speaking of, well, on that note, who was it? Which Bigfoot experiencer who was featured in A Flash of Beauty, the documentaries, made the statement, I was normal when I got here?
It's since become a mantra for all of us.
I was normal when I got here. They were in the first and second movie, and I want to get a shirt printed up with this statement on it,
Mm,
crediting him.
absolutely. Yeah. I think it was going to go on the back of our Olympic Strange Day shirts that Nancy Fry designed over at olympicstrangedays.com. You can catch all Nancy's designs. But yeah, we were going to put it on the back there. It's too good of a quote not to use or steal from Daryl Adams.
Daryl Adams, yep. I was normal when I got here.
Cabal 13, you got it. I'm going to call you Cabal 13.
Uh,
Um,
Daryl Adams, when he moved up to, he had weird stuff happening before he moved to Cottage Grove, but it really kicked up a notch when he moved into that house
it
out
did.
where,
Yeah.
yeah. So
What a guy. What a guy. Okay. um, Mel Waters said that this candy is good for measuring water levels in mysterious holes. What was the candy? I'm talking about Mel's hole of Mel Waters. Mel's hole was dropped some candy. What kind of candy was dropped into Mel's hole? And for extra credit, why did he do it? Anybody name that candy? Renee, I think you're the first one up on my end. I see it indeed is lifesavers. Lifesavers. And I think the reason why it happened, Renee, is that they wanted to see if Mel's hole had water in it because it was kind of like the shape of a well. And so he dropped fishing line down to as low as he could see, which I think was miles, to see if any moisture would catch on the lifesaver. Yep, you guys are all in it now. Nice work. I do have my nerds on here. Cabaret hands. All right, Jill, you're up.
yeah, I'm up and I've got an easy one. Our power, as we were talking about Daryl Adams and things
Oh,
getting weird, all of our power turned off and came back on. So Brett
well,
just wandered in, like, did that just happen? It's like, that's why I was kind of like,
yeah. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes here, but
there always is, but that was
mhm.
very. Blatant.
Timely.
This is like this is an easy one, or it should be. What university does Dr. Jeff Meldrum teach at?
Mm. Oh, Dr. Jeff Meldrum. What university does Dr. Jeff Meldrum work at? And for extra credit, what is the classroom number?
I don't know that.
Oh, I got an answer in here. Do you see it from Renee? Is that correct? I think it might be. Renee said Idaho.
It
Psychofu coming in
is
with a specific Idaho State from Johnny Boy.
it is Idaho State. I don't know the room number he teaches in. I will have to shoot off an email
Okay, yeah, please
to
do. We
let
need like a.
Dr.
I need to bring a
Let
bell in or something here next time when someone gets an answer right. Yeah. Okay. Now they're all
I have a
getting
tuning fork. I can start ding.
it. We need a gong. I'm just gonna have a big blue gong. Okay. Next question here. Are you guys having fun yet? Let me hear it. I just want to know that you guys are on the same page with this being something cool. Because we're doing it anyway, so you're kind of stuck with it. Known as the Icelandic hidden people, what are they? Known as the Icelandic hidden people, or as Bjork would say, oh, the hidden people. What are they? The Icelandic hidden people. Where are they hiding? And why do they hide from me when I just want to have crumpets with them?
Ah!
What are they called?
Oh.
Anybody here? And no Googling. Going once, going twice. I thought somebody said Philip Seymour Hoffman. No, gnomes is close. Trolls is close. Fairies is kind of in the wheelhouse. All you guys are all in the same ballpark. They're actually called the Huldafolk. The Huldafolk of Iceland. Go look them up. All right, Jill, you got another one?
True or false?
Oh, I like that.
True or false? So it's a 50-50. Some
Okay.
Bigfoots leave three-toed tracks.
Mm.
Let's talk about it.
I'm looking for a joke there, but you just ended up feeling bad for the three-toed squatch, don't you? Well, maybe it's the flexibility. Maybe those toes are, like Gumby, and they're lifting up off the substrate. But maybe not. Maybe they're three toes. What
So,
what's the question though?
true or false? Some Bigfoots
Oh,
have
okay.
leave three-toed tracks, and I'm
Okay.
seeing a lot of trues, some falses in there. Yeah, there are people who have reported and actually taken photos of three-toed tracks. I know that uh, I've heard that in the skunk apes and in the south, there there are reports of the three-toed tracks, and we'll get into that story
Right.
later because I know
No.
three-toed tracks has come up. In a weird tie-in, and this gets into that whole thing about maybe the Bigfoot image is like a what Eric Bard say? It's
An
a archetype,
avatar. Yeah.
an avatar for something else. Do you remember that show? I know you do. Paranormal Witness.
Oh
It was
yeah.
on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah,
In
we've
one of
talked
the
about it.
either the first season or the second season, there was a story about a family that was having all this like poltergeist activity in the house, like things
Hmm.
setting themselves on fire and
Walking up the wall with like in the ketchup stains coming. You saw. I think this is the episode.
it's the episode where something was leaving three-toed
Yes.
wet tracks
Goblins.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
ugh.
I
Mm.
think that's
So
the one with Jeff Boiler, entitled "Watched in the Woods." I think it's a
oh
two-part
yeah.
episode, and so that one's like a 45-minute episode, season one, episode whatever. But it's creepy, and I think at one point it walks through the kitchen, and it leaves like a track of whatever it walked through. In this case, I think it was like a condiment like ketchup. So this these three-toed wet, ketchup tracks. They look
Yeah,
like
and
me at 2 in the morning heading to work. So, you know, you got that going
what
on.
was the deal? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna ruin anything. Just watch it. It's a great episode. But one, like, they brought a priest over to, like,
Mhm.
bless the house, and all this stuff is happening, and, like, the teenage kid is just like, "This is our life." Oh,
Right.
and he took off, but it turned out like the whole neighborhood was having issues.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to know more about what happened on that land. I mean, we've all seen poltergeists, we know.
Well, maybe it has nothing to do
No.
with the land. It could have something to do with it just popping up. Um, who knows? I mean, it probably is something to do with the land, but um, I don't know. It's crazy to think about that. All right, got a couple more questions here.
Okay.
What did Bob Lazar say the workers at S4 called the Greys? They weren't just called the Greys. I mean, that's kind of racist. No, they had a name, right? They, the people at S4, they're compartmentalized, but they all met at the coffee percolator, and they said, those little things back there. They had a name for them, just like at at the army base, Fort Lewis, right? They had a name for Sasquatch at Fort Lewis, reportedly. But at S4, let's go back to S4. Bob Lazar said that the Greys have a nickname. And what is it? Ebens, Candace, he might have said that, but that wasn't the nickname. I think that's extra biological entity, something to that effect, right? Ebens. Aliens, no. Um, they probably did, but that's not what they called them. Going
Little
once,
buddies?
little
I don't know.
yeah, little monkeys. Yeah, little monkeys. All right, they actually called them the kids. They were called the kids. Yeah,
Oh, that's creepy.
and at Fort Lewis, according to our blurry witness in part one, um, they were called the Sasquatch at Fort Lewis are called teddy bears, right?
Yay.
Yeah, and in Psycho Fu in Cottage Grove, the Squatches are reportedly called by the Hodads and the Bohemian Mining Corporation. The Squatches are called salamanders. So I don't know if that one's true. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, the kids. All right, Jill, you got any left?
I have one more.
Okay.
One more, and to be honest, right before we went live, I was like, "Oh, I should probably look this up because I don't know." Um, which state in the continental United States has the lowest number of Bigfoot sightings
Mm.
reported? Reported.
Does it have anything to do with what I'm wearing?
Oh, I said continental.
Oh, okay. Well, you
So
did. All
outside of
right.
Hawaii, outside of
Okay.
Alaska.
Jumanji. I think China Productions should just get extra credit for putting Jumanji. That could fit into anywhere. Not according to Franzoni, Unicorn Ninja. Anybody there, Jill, getting it? Are we on a going
No.
once, going twice basis right now?
So look, I'm gonna tell you what I mean. The internet never lies. The internet, Google it, Adam. Come on, come on. Uh, so I did a couple searches on this. Nevada,
Oh,
Nevada.
really?
Now I'm like, where would they be in Nevada? Oh wait, aren't well wait, Lovelock Caves. Is that no? That's different. That's
No, that's
giant.
pretty. Yeah, that's in the ballpark. Yeah.
Okay, let's look into that because
Mhm.
it there's
Now,
enough weird stuff. I mean, the
yeah.
Bigfoots in Nevada are flying the spaceships, so
So,
I don't
like
know.
Tonopah, Nevada, extremely haunted.
Mhm.
Sasquatch sightings around the abandoned air base. there in Tonopah, and a lot of
Oh,
UFO stuff as well. But also, Mel Skahan told me that northeastern Nevada, the Utah border, is Bigfoot nuts. Now, maybe it's
okay.
because it gets into higher elevation. I don't know, but yeah, I've been dying to squatch, and they've got stuff going on at Blind Frog Ranch. I mean, so that whole area.
That's cool.
Um, I think my cousin Lynn even said that she saw something that looked like a Morlock. Is that what they are called? Like the time machine had the Morlocks, right? She said she saw what looked like a blonde Morlock in the desert mimicking her.
What's a
Really
Morlock?
creepy. Remember that cheesy sci-fi show called The Time Machine? And they go back and there's those little furry guys in the center of the earth. Or is it Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
she
Okay.
described him. So it's kind of
Okay.
Bigfooty looking.
Okay. That works. That works. Okay. Well,
Well, the
that's
last,
all I had. So.
I just got one more question here. In the theme of Ghostbusters, there is one actor in Ghostbusters that actually has a lifelong history of his family side to the spiritualist movement, dating back to the 1800s. Whose is it? Ghostbusters star actor is related to a family lineage of well-known historical spiritualists. Aykroyd, got it. Boom, cabal. Living up to his name, 313. Dan Aykroyd, indeed. In fact, he talks about in a Johnny Carson interview, and I don't have it plugged away right now, but there is a Johnny Carson interview where Dan Aykroyd talks about this, and he talks about um, he doesn't know what to call it, but he talks about there being an oily, waxy substance found in poltergeist situations, and he relates it to like spirit oil or something like that. And he's not talking about ectoplasm. So, really interesting dialogue happening from Ackroyd's point of view.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's all I got, and I think that's a wrap for our inaugural edition. And the questions will only get harder, so I expect you guys to listen to more podcasts and read more, books on the occult, perhaps, or Bigfoot or whatever. And we're gonna get there eventually. You're all winners today, though, in this new decade of ours. Participation trophies, especially for Jeff. Um, okay,
But wait.
there's
But wait.
more.
There's more. So speaking of trivia and questions and clues and things that require answers,
Mm, I
do
do
you have
have
anything to
one.
share?
I do have something to mention here. You need to tune in periodically in order to get a clue on our live streams, but you can also search things like the Olympic Strange Days public group on Facebook. You could go to olympicstrangedays.com and check out that. And there may be clues hidden elsewhere besides here, some more intense, some less intense, but I'm going to read you uh, a riddle here, and there's a picture um, on a website here, Olympic Strange Days, on the public group on Facebook. And here's the riddle: although it's daylight in this field so lush, it's easiest to find them at the hour of hush. Again, although it's daylight in this field so lush, it's easiest to find them at the hour of hush. And the photograph is of a field. And so you're going to want to take a look at that over at the olympicstrangedays.com or at the Olympic Strange Days Facebook group. And yeah, this is your chance to get 2 complimentary tickets to probably the best show in town the end of September, olympicstrangedays.com, where you can find out more information about Jill is going to be there. You're going to be teaching a class or leading a field experience
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
what it's like to be a filmmaker and talk about your natural gifts. And we're going to have a whole lot more than that. Barb Shoop's going to be there. Brett's going to be there. Mike Ferry hopefully will be there. Some surprise guests. Dr. Simeon Hine, Rich Germeau, and myself, and having a field experience over a period of time with all these people, and then an after party of such at the Hammer Hammer Oyster Saloon. And Brett, I know you don't like seafood, so this is really kind of probably pissed you off a little bit, but I'm gonna bring you a burger. I'm sure that it's not just gonna be seafood there, so we'll take care of you. Jill, you're okay with seafood, right?
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. Well, they have plenty of IPAs and booze as well. It is an oyster saloon on the beach. Again, that is September 29th from 3 to 6:30 p.m. on the 29th, free event.
And before we get to September, Friday, June 14th, we are doing a Flash of Beauty double feature in Castlegar, British Columbia. So check in on our Facebook page. I'll be getting some information out there soon on that. Uh, Brett and Jill will both be in attendance. And let's see here. Oh, this is going to be a good one. July 19th through the 21st in Oak Ridge, Oregon, the Sasquatch Summerfest.
Hmm.
We will be screening both movies in the park at dusk. So Friday
Okay.
will be the first movie and Saturday will be the sequel. So
And then if you want directions on crazy stuff to do in Oak Ridge and places to go, there'll be a lot of opportunities to do that. Also, August 9th and 10th, a new event in Longview, Washington happening called Galaxy Quest. That's where you can go to the Longview Squatch Fest that happens every year. Brett and Jill and I were there, but they're launching Galaxy Quest, and Ben Hansen, ex FBI sergeant in charge, Daryl Sims, myself, some other great speakers, and I'm going to try to get Simeon Hine to join me on stage, and we're going to do a back and forth about a place like the Owl Moon Lab and kind of dance through the theories on how these things happen. And there'll be a presentation on my end with Simeon in tow, so it should be a lot of fun. And this weekend, though, if you have a chance, and I know we're running long here, go to the McMinnville UFO Festival. If you live
yeah,
anywhere near McMinnville, um, just go. We won't be there, but we have friends from Squatch America that will be there. Go check them out, and Scott and Hannah. And but yeah, it's a big party in McMinnville. I think over 40,000 people show up. Go do everything you can in McMinnville. Go early, and yeah, that's what I got.
okay, and John Fair's Gold Panning School. I don't have the information in front of me, but go to our Facebook page, or you know what? I'll go into the community section on YouTube, and I will get that information out there. It's at a theater. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Jill, it was a real pleasure. I feel like we did our best, and I know my mom would be proud of me for tonight's efforts. I hope you are, and I just expect more of the same out of you and myself. I think we should raise the bar every week.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We're only as good. Our only competition
Mm.
is ourselves.
Did you know if
Well,
you put a mirror image of me side by side, you can see Baphomet off my right shoulder?
wait, what? Oh,
It's a King Charles joke. I'm doing my
I
King
know.
Charles.
I was telling Brett that whole that King Charles thing like put together. It's like a Mad magazine, the fold in at the
Right.
back. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So,
All right. See you guys next week.
okay, everybody. Thanks for later. How do I end this?